So this is the beginning of the Finance Committee meeting for Monday, May 13th. We have a meeting to go over an agenda with about 7 or 8 items on it. We'll get started now. The people we have in here are 2 members of the Finance Committee, which is Counselor Edwards and Counselor Delgado. They're both here with on the meeting. We also have Counselor Govan. We have Counselor Fenton, President Fenton. Not sure if I see anybody else. Our first item for tonight is parks. Alex Sherman is here, our city forester. So Alex, could you talk about this Green City Trees grant increase, please?
Yes, so this is a continuation of our Greening the Gateway Cities tree planting program that we've been doing since 2017. To date, we've been operating in McKnight, Upper Hill, Old Hill, and then parts of Bay. And we've expended the first part of that funding, which was $1.8 million award from 2017. The state Executive Office of Energy and Environment has agreed to re-up the grant for another 3 years and $1.8 million for more tree planting. And they have expanded the zone to citywide. So any resident in the city can now call us and request free trees planted on their property. We can plant in backyards, we can plant in front yards, we can plant on tree belts. And then you'll send a qualified arborist there who will meet with the homeowner, discuss what types of trees they would like, what types of trees would be appropriate for their yard. And then we coordinate the contractor to plant the trees. And it's completely cost-free to the resident. There is no match from the city for this grant either. It's a direct award.
That's great. Why are we so successful at getting it again? So just because we did great the first time?
We had a really good track record the first time. I think so this Springfield's unique. There's only one other community, and I think it's Barnstable that administers this grant through the city. All of the other cities where this program's operating, DCR sends their own foresters to the city. They do all the tree locations and coordinating with the tree planting. Springfield has coordinated all of that in-house through our forestry division and through one grant-funded employee. And we've outpaced or at least matched the DCR's abilities in all their other cities over the last 5 years. Often, we've been able to plant, many more trees than they have in similar sized cities. So they were pleased with our track record, and they want to see us do it again. So we're excited about it.
Approximately how many trees you planted? So
this spring will be our final planting of that first round, which will result in 2,600 trees planted. And this grant, because tree prices have increased a bit, as everything else has, we're planning on planting 2,400 trees with this funding.
Awesome. So it's awesome. That's great. You have a question, Counselor Davila?
Yes. I think I see me here. Question for you, Alex, and thank you for being here. So is that $1 million time for the 3 years or per year?
It's for the total over 3 years.
And I think we are 47% surface. I think this, don't know the terminology.
Tree canopy cover. Just a little under that. We're about 37% canopy. Yeah.
That's pretty high.
Yeah, that's pretty good. The Forest Service recommends 40%. So it'll take us, it seems like 3%, but that's a lot of trees and that's a lot of healthy, large shade trees. So even if we plant, these other 2,600 trees, it's going to take a while for us to even creep up, 1%. It's not easy. You can't just throw trees at it. You have to care for them over time and protect the ones you have in the meantime.
No, Alex, this is great news, by the way. In terms of the tree, anybody can call and they will plant them in private property as well.
Yep.
Now, we just passed the ordinance a couple of weeks ago, the tree ordinance.
Yes.
Is those trees are going to be eventually significant trees, or are they going to be I don't want to say regular trees, but are they gonna be as majestic? In other words, how does the new ordinance come into play with this?
So, the new ordinance won't necessarily oversee these trees unless they grow to be 36 inches or larger, so
That's a
that
big
would be
tree.
great if they did, but that will be many, many years from now. But what the city does do is we do require the residents that accept trees to allow us to maintain the trees for 2 years. So we'll help them water the trees. We'll check on the health of the trees over those 2 years. And then they also sign a watering contract, basically saying that they'll help water the trees over the first 2 years of planting. But then after that 2 years, they become the responsibility of the property owner, presuming that they're on the private property. Any trees that are planted within the right of way or public property under this program will become public shade trees and will be the property of the city.
And so Alex, my final question is, I believe that part of the problem that we have now with the trees on the sidewalk is because of 100 years ago that we planted, there was a different infrastructure, of course. And so how are we ensuring that the trees that we plant now moving forward, 100 years from now, don't give the people at the time the same problems we're having, which is roots under the sidewalk, where then the sidewalk creates it's unsafe and it takes away from the vista of the city.
So right tree, right place is the concept that we use.
What's it called?
Right tree, right place. So you'll notice a lot of times you'll go down a street or multiple streets and it'll just be like a ton of oak trees or a ton of Norway maples where they just went in and they really didn't pay attention to where the underground utilities were. They didn't really pay attention to the planting space. They just put a bunch of trees in. And so now a lot of times we're dealing with those issues where the tree is planted directly over the sewer line, and then we have issues potentially with roots in a broken sewer line. Now we look at the site, we mark all the utilities out, we plant the tree that's appropriate for that location. We don't put shade trees under the power lines anymore, so that's a constant maintenance issue. So we plant lower stature trees that won't grow up into the power lines and eventually cause outages. But we do want to promote shade trees where we can, because that's where we get the most benefits.
All right, thank you, Alexander. Congratulations on this. I hope we can continue capitalizing on this because we know we need trees.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks. Any other questions? Councilor
First
Delgado?
of all, congratulations, great work for you and your team on getting this grant again. One, I do have one of those trees that's right under a power line. Actually, the lines go right through the tree and there's a big hole right in the middle of the tree. I don't know if that causes any damage to it or not, but it does lose a lot of branches. I guess my question to you is there like a strategy that you guys had in terms of where to plant these trees, or is this solely based upon like request? And then the follow up to that would be like, where is there a map of where many of the trees have been planted?
Yeah, so we have 100% inventory of every tree. So I could show you a map that has a point location for every single tree we planted with a planting date, the type of tree, the size of the tree, and all that information. So when we first originally received the grant, they wanted it limited to an 800 acre area. So we kind of looked around the city, looked for neighborhoods that had lower tree canopy that had been historically underserved by trees. And that's where we ended up, and also had the potential to plant a good amount of trees. So that's how we ended up in Old Hill, Upper Hill, and McKnight neighborhoods originally. The great thing now is we're citywide. So anyone, from the south end to 60 to Indian Orchard can call us and get free trees on their property. And we'll send a certified arborist to their home to meet with them personally and discuss what types of trees would be appropriate for their yard, what types of trees they think they may want, and what trees are available that particular season, because it also depends on nursery availability and things. So we'll work directly with the homeowners to pick the right tree for their location.
That's good to know. I was just curious where we've been doing it. And I thought quickly of like folks that were impacted by the tornado, right? Like that stretch,
Right.
Those folks, getting that. So I was just wanting to know where. And then do you have anything that we can share to kind of spread the word on that, so folks, like, how are you sharing it with the public?
Yes, I can share a press release that was sent to me through the state. And I'll share that with the council. And yeah, you guys can, it's the grant, we're still in the contract phase, so state council will accept it hopefully tonight is the hope. And then we'll get the signed contract through the state. The current grant runs through June 30th. So then July 1, I'm hopeful we'll have everything in place so we can, promote the citywide program after July 1.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Is it, Counselor Govan?
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Alex, for doing this. The Lorax will be very, very happy. And congratulations on getting the grant again. The two questions I have is what kind of trees are that are being planted?
So we plant a variety of trees. We have a list of over 80 different species of trees that we
That's
choose
great.
from. It does depend, like I was mentioning, on nursery availability season to season, and then obviously the location. So we try to promote shade trees where we can, where there's room and where it makes sense. Because we want to maximize that tree canopy, but we will plant, other ornamental flowering trees as well. They have not approved fruit trees to date. A lot of asked for trees, but the state has yet to approve fruit-bearing trees as part of this.
Okay. Did you know I was going to ask about plum trees?
Of course.
In Indian Orchard. So my next question is, can businesses request that trees be planted in front of their property?
Yes, and on their property.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Excellent.
Entire city is, and any property owner that's owns property in the city of Springfield is eligible for the program now. So
Excellent. How would they go about doing that, Alex?
through the 311 call center, we've been
Okay, perfect.
working for 5 years, so they're well aware of the program. The only change now will be that they were screening people and asking them what neighborhoods they lived in. They'll have to do that. They'll just take the request and put it into our to the IntelliGov system.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Those are my questions. Again, congratulations, Alex. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see Counselor Fenton's hand up just for a second. I just want to remind everybody, we have that was like the most popular finance item of the last 3 months, so. Unfortunately, we have public speak out at 20:07. So we got to crowd in some other ones here. Is that what you were?
No, I do have just
You
a
have
question,
some.
yeah, if I may really
Yeah,
quick.
right.
So, I guess this is the lawyer in me, so we plant the trees on private property? What protections do we have for the city if we hit a sprinkler line or do damage to the person's property?
So we have a release form that the homeowner signs,
Okay.
which basically it's a right of access. So
Yeah.
it gives us the right to access the property to plant the trees. Also our tree planting contract. So we plant all of these trees with private contractors. There's the typical hold harmless clauses that the city has. So if they do damage someone's
So it's not
property,
city employees planting the trees?
It's not, no,
It's
it's
a consultant.
private contract.
So, and it's a joke from another meeting. And then I guess my other question would be, once the tree is up, does that release form make it clear that the resident is responsible for the tree? So we can't, as a city, be entertaining calls 5 years from now, this tree you planted in my backyard is sick and it drops too many leaves, come get it.
Right, it's an explicit 2-year, 2-year
2 years.
timeframe. We give them 2 years.
Okay,
The tree would be warranted for 1 year by the
Yeah.
contractor, and then we give them
2 years, they're small enough. That's
2 years. They're small, and we do that just so that we can monitor the trees early in their life and give them care if we need to intercede with extra watering or pruning or anything like that. But after the 2 years, it clearly states that it becomes the property of the property owner.
Thank you very much. That's all, Mr. Chair.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Mr. President. Okay, we'll consider that one done. I don't see anybody else ready to go. So let's move on to the next item, which is an order for the Parks Department of Environmental Protection grant, 500,000. Are you here to talk about that?
I am not. I think Tom Ash is planning on attending the full council meeting to address any questions there, but I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. Lindsay, is there anything you want to say about that?
Sure, I could pull something up. I have notes on that grant. Okay, so this is a $500,000 grant from the Department of Environmental Protection. And it is going to support the study, design services, and site work related to multiple projects, but namely the Porter Lake Dam Phase 2 Engineering Evaluation and Alternatives Analysis and Emergency Action Plan Development. That was a mouthful.
Okay. It's a mouthful, but we got info. That's good.
Also, a condition assessment of Lower Pacusick Brook and Aquatic Gardens, Barney Pond Rehabilitation and Dredging Feasibility Study, Meadowbrook Ravine Drainage Outlet Replacement and water quality improvements, and also the Forest Park Zoo Drainage Assessment Study and Phase 1 improvements.
So there's it all sounds like it's all Forest Park related.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, we'll hear, any questions on that?
I just based
Right
on
here.
Pecosic, what are they doing in Pecosic?
I didn't get exactly what it was.
It was a condition assessment of the brook,
Okay.
Lower Pacusick Brook and Aquatic Gardens with conceptual design of improvements.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Sure.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. We'll move along after that. It's number 3, which is an emergency management performance grant in-kind match required. Is anybody here to talk on that?
I
I
can
can-
speak to that one.
good.
Speaking for the fire department. Yeah, sure.
Great.
So this is a $92,735.50 grant from MEMA. This grant would be used to purchase critical rescue and safety equipment such as 6 portable radios, 8 body armor vests and helmets, 25 thermal imaging cameras, 1 rapid deployment craft or banana boat, 2 cold water rescue suits, 10 carbon monoxide meters, 1 ammonia and 1 chlorine meter, 3 skate packs, and 1 100 airline confined space hose. These items will help keep the department personnel safe and also ensure public safety and keep the safety of the infrastructure in Springfield. The in-kind match we will be using to fund the salary of Tyrone Denson, District Chief Tyrone Denson, and this grant expires on June 30, 2025.
Okay, great. Thanks for that info. Appreciate it. Any questions on that from anyone?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah. go
thank
ahead.
you. Question for you, did you say that we purchasing body armor as well?
Yes.
Who would that be for in the fire department?
So the body armor vest will be used for Springfield Fire Department 2 TAC units, and in the event of an active shooter.
Okay, so it'll be for the TAC units, the firefighters.
Yes.
Just a quick question, how are we supplying body armor to the investigation unit? To the fire arsons?
So that's something that someone from fire could speak to a little bit later on today. I'm not sure specifically.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for item 3? Not seeing any. Let's move on to item 4. DPW recycling dividends program grant increase, no match, 10 grand. Chris or anybody from DPW here, or is this default to you? I'm sorry.
That'll be me again. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yeah, this is a $10,124.72 increase to the FY24 RDP grant. The original award was in 2023 October for $71,500. This brings the new total to $81,624.72. The DPW will use these grant funds for recycling bins and other related items, such as equipment and recycling education materials.
All right. 10 grand for that. Any questions on it? Thank you. Number 5, Parks Department donations of $5,200. Any info on that we need to discuss? Just move along.
I could speak to that one as well.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so this is a donation from multiple donors. From William T. Dunn and Patricia B. Dunn, Christopher Thomas Moore and Jenna A. Moore, and Richard A. Aldrich. These are for benches throughout the city of Springfield.
Benches. Can you apply for these benches like you apply for the trees?
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for the info. Number 6, PEG access and cable related fund. FY 24, quarter 4, 152 grant. Anybody have any info on this?
Yes, so this would be the 4th time this type of order is coming before you in FY 24. This is the 4th quarter payment for FY 24. We have to appropriate this funding for Focus to be able to fund our PEG access, which is our public education and governmental access channels. The amount is $152,000, and the total amount for FY 24 is $633,226.03.
Right,
I have something on that, Mr. Chair.
yeah, great.
I think we're all aware that there's been serious issues with the meetings that the council's been trying to conduct since January, and I think that we should send this item to committee tonight so that we can have an in-depth discussion with public access about exactly what their funding looks like and get to the heart of what the problem is. Doesn't seem like there's a long-term solution that is within grasp at this point.
Okay,
A quick question.
thanks. Yeah, Councilor
I
Federer.
think although the president might answer my question. So this money, this PEG money will be going indirectly to Focus Springfield to fund the access.
On what we're doing right now.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mhm.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for recognizing me, Mr. Chair. Stephen Howard, I have a question concerning, since it says cable related funds, right? Could this money be tied into the millions of dollars that's been allocated to Massachusetts and plus to Springfield for digital equity?
No,
It can be.
no, this money goes to Focus Springfield, guys who run the building meetings and broadcasts everything.
Good question. Thank you, Councilor Edwards. All right, that leaves us with one item left, unless there's questions on item 6. See anybody? Item 7, transfer from reserve for contingency to elections. Who's gonna take this one?
So Gladys should be at the meeting to take this one. There were some additional costs because of the 3 elections they had during this year that they had not budgeted for. So she's requesting 45,000 from reserve for contingencies to fund those.
Great.
Sounds good. All right, so we have 3 members of this committee here. Anybody interested in making a
Motion to accept the entirety of the orders except for the recommendation for item 6. 6, yeah, yes, item 6.
Right.
Council will make a motion and hopefully the committee of the whole recommendation that it goes to committee.
Second.
All right, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.